Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're listening to Young Chef's Body Found in Her Restaurant Freezer. And remember, I do this because this is what I do all day. A variety of things during the day, but most of the time is spent listening to a lot of these, like a podcast, okay? I don't know if these are on podcasts, but anyway, let's go. Young chef's body found in her restaurant freezer.
What is it that triggers the final decision? That split-second moment that steals a life and plunges the killer into a void of guilt.
I knew with the expression on his face that something was wrong. Seriously wrong.
After a killing so brutal, the killer first cannot bear to leave the victim, then cannot bear to stay. But there's no fleeing the horror of the act.
Any crime like this will rock a community, and it will devastate a family who have lost someone under such tragic and such violent circumstances.
What follows is a cat and mouse game, a killer who must be found.
We had to establish who was responsible, where they were. Was it murder? Was it manslaughter? Sift through a lot of information to actually get to the truth.
This was a crime that turned on jealousy, betrayal, the most brutal of endings to what should have been a shared dream. The village of Snettisham in Norfolk, a community of 1,000 households on the edge of the fens, a magnet for visitors drawn to its pubs and its charm, and the vast beaches of the Wash. It appears in the Doomsday Book of 1086, but something precious lay hidden here for 1,000 years before that. The Snettisham Hoard, pre-Christian symbols of power and love, perhaps. Other things lay hidden here, and they too were to do with power and love. But when they came to the surface, they brought only tragedy. The central characters in our story didn't start life here. This is where they came with their dream. "20 miles away, and in the 80s, Becky Thorpe was growing up with her parents in the tiny village of Sholdenthorpe. She was a pupil at Downham Market High School.
School initially was not easy for her. She was a pupil who would much rather be unnoticed and quietly just go about her business.
But didn't apply on the sports field.
Although she was only an average, run-of-the-mill student, her sport carried her. She would fight cat and dog to win the ball, and nobody was sort of standing in her way when she got going.
She dreamed of a career in sport, but while still at school, started doing work experience at Timbers Motel in Fincham, near her home.
This she took on board like she takes everything else that she wants to do, took it by the scruff of the neck and got stuck into it.
When she left school, she went to the College of West Anglia in King's Lynn and qualified as a chef. She returned to the motel in 2003
You really need to keep on stirring this.
and eventually became head chef.
Have a bit of seasoning to this.
Hello?
She had similar success when she moved to a pub, but then things went wrong. A dispute arose with new managers, and she claimed unfair dismissal. At a tribunal, she was granted a financial settlement.
Help yourself.
But for now, the dream of running kitchens had soured. Becky was 24. She began a relationship with an older man and decided to switch careers. She got a job as a dental technician and within a year was a fully qualified dental nurse. But once again she hit problems as her relationship collapsed.
I think the gentleman would like to have taken the relationship further, probably thinking about children. Rebecca didn't, at the time, want to go down that route.
It was now 2008. Becky found herself single, unhappy, and in need of extra cash to supplement her modest wages. She took warships at a local hotel.
She turned back to the trade that she knew and loved, and went back into the pub industry.
In December 2008, she switched to a pub nearby, the Dray and Horses at Topham Hill. And suddenly, things moved fast. The pub was run by Michael Tucker in his late 40s and his partner, with whom he had 2 children.
There was a mutual attraction between Becky and Michael.
Michael, did you change that barrel?
Yeah, I'm just a bit busy at the moment, yeah.
You can change it now?
In a few minutes.
And quite soon after that, a relationship developed between them.
No barking.
Within days, Michael was giving Becky a bracelet for Christmas.
What did I say?
Do you really?
He invited her to join him and his family for Christmas dinner. 1 week later, meltdown.
On New Year's Eve, 2008 leading into 2009, Michael's partner found text messages on Michael's phone from Becky.
Michael, not text my name. What's wrong? I'm talking about.
There was a row, during which plates were smashed. Michael's partner asked Becky to leave the pub.
I'm leaving.
The police were called by Michael's partner
Apologies, everyone.
so that she could be removed from that property with the children to a place of safety.
I think that's an interesting thing.
It's one piece will make.
No, no, go back that way.
On mobile devices or the big screen.
You're gonna have some extra in your dinner tonight.
Becky fled from the pub to the flat she rented in Downham Market.
And Michael tried to get her attention, but she didn't answer the door that night. And it was a day or two later
Okay, you have to go
that
back.
they finally got together. And then
Okay,
the
back.
relationship
No,
resumed
back up.
from there.
Back up.
Michael's partner took the children back to Ireland where she came from. Leaving Becky, now 27, more than 20 years older than her, whom she barely knew.
We don't know a huge amount about Michael other than he was born and raised in the Kent area. He had a number of brothers and sisters, but never seemed to be particularly close with them.
Michael, who was brought up in the town of Swanley, had a troubled childhood. His father died when he was young.
Michael left home at a reasonably young age to go out and find his way in the world and move from one pub to another, and he would flip from job to job.
Now he was at the Dray and Horses, where Becky decided to throw in her lot with him.
Hey, that was great, wasn't it? Wow, busy were we?
She ditched her job as a dental nurse and moved in. She had a new man, and she was about to make her dream career a reality. Or so she thought. Mother's Day 2009. At the Dray and Horses pub at Topham Hill in Norfolk, Becky Thorpe, aged 27, and her new partner, Michael Tucker, are preparing for some special guests.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm fine. Michael, we'll just take the flowers, please, on the table. Make sure they're going to go on the city.
Becky's parents knew nothing of the showdown where Michael's former partner discovered he and Becky were having an affair. She walked out, taking their 2 children to Ireland.
Hi. Perfect timing. Everything's ready.
We went to Ireland, and that was when we first met Michael.
What?
Lovely to meet you. Come on through. Michael Simmons, he could hold conversation with basically anybody on almost any subject. It wasn't until later that we did begin to realise that things were a bit more than just a business relationship.
Then, in the village of Snettisham, a few miles away, the tenancy of another pub, the Compasses Inn, came free. It had been empty for 12 months. At the time of filming for this programme, it was undergoing restoration. So much space. The kitchen. Tempting.
It's seriously tempting, yeah.
I think the Compasses to Becky was a fresh start. She wanted something that was her own, rather than stay at the Dray and Horses where Michael was with his previous partner and the children.
They took the tenancy, spent several weeks restoring the pub, and held a grand opening at Easter 2009.
I think most of the local people were pleased to see that the pub was coming back to life again.
But almost immediately, it became clear something was amiss.
I hope they really help if you're alive.
Obviously, it's fine. We were getting vibes that things were not always as cosy as we was led to believe.
Michael?
I won't be a sec.
Becky had spoken about that Michael's drinking probably a little bit more than one should.
Michael was an alcoholic. The bottles of alcohol were secreted at different locations in his vehicle, in the garden area, and indeed around the pub.
He would drink about 10 pints a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little less.
A week after the opening, Becky received a phone call. Hi. You're where? What do you mean you're going something stupid?
She got into the car and drove over from Snettisham to the Dray and Horses. He was taken into the Queen Elizabeth Hospital at King's Lynn with a suspected overdose. She never got to the bottom of why he did that.
Michael returned to the pub, where business was tough. The Compasses faced competition.
The passing trade was not great, and the village also supports two other public houses, so it was a little bit of an uphill struggle.
Becky was the one that did the bookkeeping, she would run the kitchen, and she would also work in the bar. Michael was drinking regularly and visiting other licensed premises other than the one he was meant to be running. That in itself was causing financial problems.
Yes. Yeah, I'm on the way. Yeah, I'll be there.
It got to a point where there were bills that couldn't be paid, there were suppliers that refused to supply alcohol to the pub unless they were paid cash in advance.
Becky held back from investing all the money she'd received at Industrial Tribunal.
There was some friction that Michael was probably aware that Becky had probably still got a little bit more money put by, and he would like to have made use of it.
But outwardly, Becky and Michael's relationship appeared to be weathering the challenges.
We've got a story, you know. He's entertaining. Okay. Bex, how you doing?
Yeah, good, busy.
All right. It's a good.
He was very open in his affection for her.
Yeah.
Alright.
He would hug her and kiss her in front of customers, sometimes to the point where it became uncomfortable for those customers.
Here's your glass.
Michael's devotedness intensified.
Michael was very possessive with Becky.
Don't get your hopes up, mate. This one is mine. Yeah.
If he saw her, even just talking with a male customer, he would kiss her in front of that customer in a way of saying that this is my property, you keep your hands off. want her going out with her friends. He would get her to stay at the pub and work at the pub.
But for Becky, that was a non-starter.
Hey, where are you going?
Hockey?
You're joking, I'm in here.
Bye.
She didn't appreciate being dominated in any way. I think if Rebecca was being controlled, or tried to be controlled by Michael, she was very firmly
the Federal Service
put Michael in his place.
By continuing with this conversation, you consent to the collection, process, and storage of your information.
Early that summer of 2009, Michael once again did something which startled and upset Becky.
Just going to get some bread milk, yeah?
Okay. Michael told Becky that he was going to the local shop, but he in fact disappeared for some 3 weeks without any notice to Becky, without telling her where he was going.
Becky tried repeatedly to contact him, but without success. In the end, she reported him missing.
And then after 3 weeks, he attended a police station in London. And then she drove down to London and picked him up.
Where the hell have you been?
He initially told her that he had gone to rehab during that time, but the details that he had given her, we researched and found no such premises existed.
It's thought Michael actually went to Ireland, where his former partner and 2 children were living.
You get mine, will you? I'll have a bath tomorrow. See you later.
In August 2009, it was Michael's turn for a shock.
A local woman went to the Compassers with her partner of that time and confronted Michael.
Can I have a quick word?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. It's about Becky and my partner. I found texts from her on his phone. A lot of them.
The woman had come to the pub with her partner when it first opened. It's alleged that after that time, her partner had frequently returned alone. There's no independent evidence that what the woman feared was actually true.
Look at them.
Listen.
I think they're having an affair.
If I thought they were having an affair, you could have come upstairs. To open their heads. You'd find it at the bottom of Constantine.
That same month, August 2009, something happened that was to stretch the relationship between Becky and Michael to breaking point.
Becky had gone up to bed after a shift in the pub. Michael was due to follow her upstairs. He kicked a chair away and then was momentarily hanging by the neck with a rope.
The rope gave way.
Mike, what have you done?
Becky later reported it had been nailed to a beam that wouldn't have supported a loaf of bread.
I can't cope with this anymore, Mike.
Whether he was waiting for her to come in order to do that, so that it looked as if he was trying to commit suicide, or whether he was actually doing that, not knowing she was coming out the corridor, I'm inclined to go with the former.
Once again, Michael was taken to Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn.
Michael actually claimed that he and Becky had been having sexual intercourse and that it was an experiment that had gone wrong. And in fact, it was some sort of sexual gratification, the fact that he was hanging and had a rope around his neck at that time, which is something that Becky denied.
From hospital, he deluged Becky with texts and calls, asking her not to end the relationship.
In the end, she relented. She had an investment both emotionally and financially within the Compassers and still had that dream of making it a complete success. she decided to go back and try and make a go of it.
Things seemed then to become calmer. Though there's some evidence uncovered only after tragic and momentous events about to unfold that Michael and Becky were sleeping separately. Some rooms were developed for bed and breakfast customers, some were for staff only. Becky's makeup and personal belongings were found in a rental room. But just before Valentine's Day in February 2010, when she went to visit her parents, she seemed happy.
Hey, Dad, you alright? Hello?
She got some ideas for the summer. She got one or two plans for fundraising events with barbecues and such like in the beer garden.
Yeah, happy at the moment. So, okay? You
The exact date of what happened next isn't clear. Some reports say March the 9th, 2010. On March the 10th, Becky was said to have signed a receipt for a customer, but with no warning, she disappeared. Michael was left running the pub on his own.
And that's lovely. She's not about to. She'll be like 2 days working.
On March the 13th, 2010, Michael employed two new barmen. On Saturday, March the 20th, they arrived to open up.
What's going on? Michael just texted me. We're closing this on Monday.
He was going to spend some time with Becky, but he would return on Monday morning.
But Michael wasn't at the pub on Monday morning. Instead, after the barman opened up, and without giving an explanation, Michael sent a text asking them to get the local police to call him.
And the officer tried dialing Michael's number but got no reply. So that particular incident was logged to follow up at a later time.
The following day, Tuesday, March the 23rd, 2010, a woman arrived at the pub in a state of anxiety. Later events would show she had a relationship with Michael which went beyond that between customer and publican.
I just received this.
She, too, had received text messages, but the contents of hers were devastating. The barman flagged down a passing off-duty policeman. In the night window behind the pub, Becky's true fate was revealed. She was dead, and Michael had disappeared.
Body has been found at Snettisham, West Norfolk. Police have sealed off a section of the village.
Because I was still in that half sleep, didn't sort of register too much, and thought, oh dear, tragic, and left it at that.
The body is believed to be that of a young woman.
Something just struck a chord with me that something wasn't all well. And I'd got the telephone number of the detective constable that's actually a family friend. He said, well, stay exactly where you are, and I will be with you in 10 minutes.
The previous day, Peter's 29-year-old daughter, Becky, landlady of the Compasses Inn at Snettisham in Norfolk, had been found dead in an outbuilding. Wrapped in a duvet and plastic sheeting, bound with duct tape, her body lay deep frozen in a chest freezer.
Well, something catastrophic has happened. Your body and your brain seems to know what needs to be done, but your emotions just go completely out the window.
A lot had already happened in what had become a rapidly unfolding investigation.
There are a lot of things to manage immediately. There's the concern of the forensic examination of the scene. Normally we would look to instigate a forensic post-mortem. However, because Becky was frozen, we had to wait several days for her body to thaw before we could carry that process out.
A priority was to find Michael Tucker, Becky's 50-year-old business partner and lover. He'd vanished, but not without trace. Police already knew that since the Saturday he disappeared, He'd been sending texts, not just to his barman, but to the woman who had led them to Becky's body.
It's not your fault. I've made a mistake.
What's wrong?
I've done something wrong, and it'll be on telly next week.
She'd kept hoping he'd turn up at the pub.
Is Michael around?
He's not, I'm afraid.
Have you heard anything from him?
What's going on?